Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I am Vidya and I am your host for today. Today's session will be covered by two speakers, Prasanna Kumar and Dr. Prakash Hadimani. Prasanna will give an introduction about Steer and its businesses. He is heading business operations at Steer America. Dr. Prakash Hadimani, our main speaker for today, will cover the topic on fractional geometry technology for wood and composite. Dr. Prakash has completed his master's in polymer science and technology and has a PhD in polymer blends. He heads the Application Development Center at Steer headquarters in Bangalore. We also have a Q&A session. You will find a Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens. Please drop in and ask your questions about today's topic. Prasanna and Dr. Prakash will answer them at the end of today's webinar. Please also participate in the polling questions at every break. We'll have 3 such questions, and we'll really appreciate if you can respond to each one of them. Without further ado, let's now go over to Prasanna to commence today's webinar.
Thank you, Vidya. Welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar, and I wish everybody is staying safe and healthy in this COVID situation. I hope everyone follows responsibility to wear the mask and keep healthy and safe. So let me just give a brief introduction about Steer. We at Steer create advanced material platform technology that effectively transforms and functionalizes material in field of plastic, pharmaceutical, food and nutraceutical, biomaterial, and biorefining. We are a pretty young company. We are a 27-year-old company, and we started our business in 1993. And our core people, one of the founder is Dr. Babu Padmanabhan. He's the Managing Director and Chief Knowledge Officer of Steer. Our head office is in India, Bangalore, and Dr. Babu Padmanabhan resides there, and he heads the Steer Engineering as well as Steer Life business. Dr. Babu Padmanabhan, once we started this company, he did notice there are a lot of limitation in the existing twin screw geometry, and he has contributed to improve the process technology and already has 60 plus patents on the twin screw geometry. He's also a creator of disruptive continuous manufacturing technology, which is called as from batch process to continuous process, which is very much a requirement in the pharmaceutical industry. We also have Subodh Jindal, our new global CEO. He joined December 2020. He comes with at least 25 plus years of experience and 14 plus years of managing business, P&L and responsibilities such as material science, life science, market models, scale and complexities. And he's also a certified Six Sigma Black Belt with strong process orientation. Of course, I'm with Steer for this is my 24th year, and I've been positioned in various capabilities. I was handling Steer China for 5 years, and from 2019, I'm heading Steer America business. I have good process knowledge because the first 100 extruders that we built are completely handled by, including from commissioning to the process troubleshooting was done. So I have pretty good extensive knowledge on that. Good. So this is our extruder footprints and statistics. Our head office, as I informed, it's in India, Bangalore. All the manufacturing happens in India, and we have globally represented. We have 4 global offices, 10 satellite offices, and 4 application development center. When I say application development center, is we have lab facility where customers can come and run their process and see our actually experience our technology. We continue to serve more than 45 countries. Our Steer America office is in Cleveland, Ohio. We have a application development center here as well with 2 machines. One is a 50 dia machine and a 20 lab machine. We are 500 plus employees, 60 plus patents, and 1 million elements sold so far. And we have around 825 extruder installation globally. We are the only company who's very much vertically integrated, starting from manufacturing the steel up to the end assembly, and everything is done in-house. So we have a much better control over the quality and quantity. The industry served are polymer, pharmaceutical, powder coat, food, bioplastic, and biorefining. We have also 3 different model of extruders. One is mega platform, which is similar to 1.55 DO by DI ratio, which is available in the industry. We also have 1.49 DO by DI ratio, and Steer own platform, which is Omega 1.71 DO by DI ratio. So if you have a existing line which is 1.55 and you're planning to add another line, we can definitely do the same configuration where you'll have interchangeability. That's one of our core strength. And our business is divided into 2 parts. One is parts, as well parts in the sense elements, barrel, shaft. For any make, any model, twin screw extruder we can manufacture, we can do reverse engineering, and we have already done for many customers. And of course, the other 50% is on the TSC business that we do. So I would like Prakash to take over from here, and he has some amazing case studies that should be very interesting for customers who are really interested in shear sensitive application. So over to you, Prakash.
Thank you, Prasanna. Nice introduction about Steer and Steer technology. Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk about on the wood composites, on many natural fibers, and also we are going to discuss today on the modern technology. What is 20th century and 21st century? And I'm going to discuss on wood composite, some of the case studies, and extruder specification setup, results and discussion on WPC, wood composite. And there are a couple of case studies like PBAT and PLA with the wood composite powders, and bamboo fibers with polypropylene, jute drawings and jute powder with polypropylene, hemp fibers and rice husk and bagasse. These are some of the applications we are going to discuss today on this topic. See, 20th century, we have, 20th century have a twin screw, high screw speed, it's already built. Many extruders which had 1200 RPM and higher torque handling capability, larger drive motor, and also greater throughput and lower residence time. What are the limitations? Feed limitation and high peak shear, higher melt temperature. To overcome these are Edminger profile. Late night 20 to 40 years back, Edminger profile. There are only 3 elements. One is RKB, right hand kneading block, neutral kneading block, and LKB, left hand kneading block. These 3 kneading blocks used to mix and distribute in the homogeneous manner. And it consumes high mechanical, and then you can say high power consumption. We call it as higher SME, specific mechanical energy. And also it liberates peak shear. Okay. The peak shear is not acceptable for a low bulk density, or you can say natural fibers, because The peak shear degrades fibers and liberate into black specks. And some of them, you say a flame retardant application, that's also acceptable, and very sensitive materials, okay, and then it is not acceptable for a peak shear. What is peak shear we are talking about? Okay, when bilobe elements, two lobe, when connect to, in between there is a two lobe, you see here, okay, and this area, the first zone, there's completely molten material, stagnant. There is, you have a complete pool of the melt, and when it is going to the next level, going here and here, there is a narrow, the gap is going to the narrow and narrow. There are hardly 3% of melt trap in between the two lobe, and that leads to peak shear that liberates the temperature, go to the and higher temperature, and it degrades the polymer. There low down, there is a one example what we have given this photo. It's completely degraded polymer at the end of the screw tip, because initially we thought of we are going to get the good quality material, but because of the peak shear, because every rotation it starts picking up and forming yellow black speck. To overcome these, see, there are new material development is compromise ourselves. When you're going for a standard kneading technology, you cannot use sensitive materials like a halogen, non-halogen materials, biopolymers, pearl pigments, and also reinforcement and natural fibers. These are the material. Okay, when you are going for a new development, we have to compromise ourselves when you are going for a standard kneading block. The peak shear rate, which results into decompose the flame retardant filler and biopolymers, and it degrades the polymer. Restriction of higher screw speed when we are writing, because extruder is built for 1200 rpm, but we have to restrict ourselves because the extruder is capable of handling 1200. When you are going at a 1200 rpm, because of the peak shear, the polymer starts degrading and turn into yellow color. That's why they're compromising, many operators compromising themselves to run at the lower RPM, lower 600 RPM. Okay, how to overcome this situation? Okay, and residence time is not stable. Every time there is a change in the residence time, and also lowers the mechanical property. When the polymer starts degrading, the mechanical property drops down. To overcome this, we have fractional geometry technology. What is the advantage of fractional geometry technology? Like in the Omega platform, higher torque capability, narrow residence time, and also low residence time, narrow clearance, constant clearance in the through the system, and we have a deep grooving like a DO by DI 1.71, higher free volume, self wiping, and also higher throughput. To control the peak shear, to enable to increase the throughput, and this is what the fractional geometry technology. 3 RHC, okay, eccentric conveying elements. It convey the material into the next level. Okay, advanced technology. And 3 RKP, it's melting, uniform melting through the system. There is no variation in shear rate, the uniform shear rate, and also gentle melting takes place in the polymer, and all MFE, melt formation elements, act as a stirring effect and stretching and folding and squeeze the material in the kneading cycle. also reduce the melt temperature. What's the mechanism of dynamic stirring elements and fractional mixing elements? When we have wood powder has to wet in the polymer matrix to achieve due to the stirring effect, and it reduces the melt temperature and also uniform shear rate throughout the system, and also it distribute the polymer and wood composite and increases the elongational flow by using fractional mixing elements, and also improves tensile and impact strength. If you compare bilobe technology and the fractional geometry technology, in the bilobe technology, I already explained you when the materials trap at the last section, when screws start rotating, 3% of molten material traps here. This we call it a peak shear. Every rotation, okay, and polymer starts degrading, converting to yellow color, and that leads to reduce your mechanical property. In terms of fractional mixing elements, if you see that this is 4-lobe mixing elements, and you have a pool of melt, it's completely filled with melt here, and even in the last one, when it starts rotating, you have a big gap. Okay, every rotation. That is why, because of a 4-lobe construction, you have a uniform shear rate throughout the system. There's no degradation. If you see the below photo talks about the input raw material is in white in color, and finally at the metering section, if you see that there is white in color of the complete blend. We have a first poll of questions. Vidya, to you, please.
Yes. Thank you, Prakash. Here is our first poll question. Would you be interested to review our case studies on wood composite? You can select your answer from the list of options displayed on your screen. You'll have about 30 seconds now. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see the results. So 100% say yes. Also, if you have any questions on the ongoing webinar, please drop into the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens and kindly ask your questions. All right, let's go back to Dr. Prakash to continue with the webinar.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. What are natural fiber? We are going to discuss on the natural fiber. In the natural fiber, you see that there are two types of, one is on left-hand side, you see the natural fiber and synthetic fiber. We'll first talk about natural fiber. Natural fiber, again, divide into animal, plants, and the minerals. If you talk about animals, you can see horn powder and chicken feather. These are all comes under animal. I'm just giving 2 examples, but these 2 examples we have already processed and given the solution technology to the many of our customers. And when it comes to the plants, okay, there are one, you talk about stem, then there are 2, 3 examples I can give you, jute and hemp, and also you can see the banana fibers. And when it comes to here, okay, reeds and grasses, okay, the bamboo, and the second thing is bagasse. And when it comes to woods powder and the lignin powder, these 2 we are going to discuss today's seminar. Okay, wood powder and also lignin powder with our biodegradable polymer along with the synthetic polymers. And we are also discussing on rice husk, When you come to the synthetic, okay, there are again organic and the inorganic. Organics, again, the aromatic polyester, and then inorganic glass fiber, carbon fiber, and boron fibers. But left-hand side, we are going to discuss on the natural fibers. Main producer of natural fibers, cotton, you know, everybody knows that China, India, and then USA. And jute is the highest producer jute in India and Bangladesh. And there are, the list is begin, there is big list compared to, depends on the coir. You can coir India and Sri Lanka. There are many are here, okay? And if you talk about hemp, is only China, even not in India, not in USA. These are the hemp producer in main. And if you talk about silk, silk producer, China and India. Okay. Why do we need now bio-based natural fibers? Why do you need? Yes, it's easy. There are many advantages of a biofiller. These are biodegradable. It's easy to biodegradable. Second is readily available. It's easy to, availability depends on the availability. It's easy. So that second thing, third one is a low cost, okay, and eco-friendly and minimize the waste. These are the main advantages. We need a natural fibers. If you go to the automotive industry, the lightweight comes down drastically because initial the density may be 2.5 or 3, and later the blends with the polymer and the natural fiber, it comes to 1.2, so that the weight of the car reduced drastically. So that economy wise, that's one. Okay, recently the material talks about the automotive industry. First, initially they were using on the sheet metal, and later start about plastic and the composites. What's the effect? Reduction of the weight and easy disposal. Okay, natural fiber has to be mixed with the polymer now. How to do that? Because reinforcement like jute, wood powder, these are hydrophilic in nature. The matrix of the polymer, again, hydrophobic in nature. We need to mix these two. We need a compatibilizer as a bonding agent. That, and again, mixing these two, we need a twin screw extruder so that we can distribute the fiber into the polymer matrix. So to get the homogeneous mixing. Now we are going to the first case studies of wood powder. Why do you need a wood powder? Okay, the wood powder blends with the polymer. You can shape, any shape can be done. If you take just a wood powder or any jute powder, can you mold it whatever you wanted? No, we cannot do that, because when you mix with any polymer, the shape can be done as you required. Okay, it may be construction or any other application, so that molding can be done depending on your requirement. That is the beauty of WPC, wood composite applications. Again, depending on the requirement, color can be added and change it to red, blue, many other color. But if you're using natural, just a wood, the color cannot be changed. Whatever the color, you need to get. But when you make into the WPC, the color can be get as you wanted. And when if you compare just a wood and WPC stay for a longer period of time. The wear and tear, because of the coating of the polymer, that will withstand for a longer period and reduce the moisture content. Because if you take the wood and the WPC and stay for a longer period in the humidity environment, the wood start absorbing and loses its property. But the polymer coated WPC, any polymer coated with WPC, stay for a longer period of time, and moisture absorption will be very, very minimal. And also heat resistance. What are the applications you can go for? Building, construction, and many other applications used for WPC. I'm just comparing the current technology and our FGT technology. The current technology I'm talking about today, counter rotating. There is two-stage process. Many of them, if you see the WPC and natural fiber, still 80% of the customer in the industry using single screw or a counter rotating method still. What are the drawbacks in the counter rotating method? You cannot go more than 60 RPM, lower the run at the lower RPM. But if you talk about Omega, is a single stage process, counter rotating two stage. You have to mix and then go to the next level. And Omega can be run even 300 to 600 RPM. And counter rotating, what is happening? If you pre-mix everything, you have to pre-dry. But in the twin screw, you don't have to pre-dry. You can just fed into the extruder in a split feed method, and so that you can do that. And poor dispersion quality and elongation in the counter rotating. You get higher dispersion in the twin screw extruder. But if you want to go for a counter rotating, what is happening? Larger extruder we need to get, because to get the higher throughput, you need to go for a big. But in the case of twin screw, the smaller the extruder size, higher the capacity, because the smaller extruder can capable of giving higher throughput. And then higher SME in counter rotating, lower SME, the power consumption will be lower in terms of TSC. And again, batch to batch variation in counter rotating. There's no variation because it's inline process in the TSC. There also higher throughput in FGT technology, lower throughput in the counter rotating. What are the process challenge? Okay, currently in TSC, there are many challenges. Feeding of the low bulk density material. Again, the natural fiber try to degrade, okay, form as a lumpy and absorb moisture. These are the challenges. Again, wetting wood powder into the polymer matrix, again, the biggest challenge. Again, dispersing is another challenge in the wood powder. We have done the lab trial on the WPC. Our main aim is to conduct trial. We have used two technology. One is a standard bilobe technology, what currently the industry using in twin screw, and we have used FGT technology. Okay, and we took these two screws and these two technology and in the twin screw extruder and use polypropylene and wood composites. Also, the wood powder content was 50%, and there are a mix of polymer, polypropylene and other. And there are two wood powder size we have used. One is 30 mesh and another is 100 mesh. And we fed through split feed method, 25-25 in two stages. Okay. And also the bulk density of this, we have, it is 0.3 and it's less than that. And the moisture content, what we observed is almost 12%. We didn't pre-dye. Our twin screw extruder, the FGT, is capable of removing moisture. Okay, this is two powders we have used for the lab study, 30 mesh and 100 mesh. 30 mesh had a coarse and flaky in nature, and the 100 mesh had in the fine powder. Okay, this was the setup. We fed polymer from the intake, melt it completely, make sure that the polymer 100% molten, and feed the wood powder 25% and 25% in two side feeder, and use a strand cutting method. There is no water contact, and we cut hot pellets. The screw speed was 350 to even 600 RPM. The throughput was 100 kg in the 40 millimeter extruder. When in 100 mesh, the specific mechanical energy is increased, but in the 30 mesh, specific energy reduced. And the mixing will take place because we have used two standard technology. One is the standard bilobe technology, second is FGT technology. And only change in the screw, but the feeding method, everything same. And process parameter was changed, but we have collected standard technology sample and FGT, and we have tested in an injection molding machine, and all and taken also. See here, this is FGT pellets, okay, and standard pellets. FGT pellets give smooth pellet surface and light in color as a natural color. And we observed, okay, the physical appearance. We observed good dispersion of the wood powder onto the polymer matrix. We didn't find any degradation on the pellets. And if you observe, okay, standard technology, rough pellet surface, okay, and the moisture also we observed higher moisture content in the standard technology. And color, more interestingly, the darker in color, the pellets were little bit darker, and we observed there is slight degradation, okay, on the pellets. The wetting was very bad, okay, improper wetting of the pellets, and poor dispersion of the wood powder into the polymer matrix. And also we observed there are many voids, particles in the standard technology. It may be due to the improper wetting of fiber also, and distribution and mixing. Later, we took two samples separately and put it in a compression molding machine. And if you see that the left-hand side FGT technology, when you took a sheet, we didn't observe any black specks, okay? And it was as like a natural fiber, but standard technology, we observed there are black specks, there are degraded colors, okay? There are black specks in the standard technology that we observed. It is due to the peak shear. Due to the peak shear, the polymer, the wood powder started degrading, okay? And if you use a fractional geometry technology, it reduces the melt temperature, also no degradation, and you see the shear rate throughout the system, lower shear rate, no degradation of wood powder in the FGT, but we observed the degradation in the standard technology. What is the steer is going to give the following benefits after using this? We finally observed FGT technology. If you use FGT technology, we can handle biodegradable polymer, polyethylene, polypropylene, PVC, and PLE. We can do the combination of these, and also we have done we series of study wood fiber, and then sawdust, jute, bamboo, rice powder. There are many, etc. This combination we provide to the customer. Okay, and we also using FGT technology give a controlled elongation mixing and lower temperature, and also gives good dispersion and distribution of the pellets and high quality of the pellets, and also no degradation in the fiber. And we helps customer to load up to 30 to 60% of wood powder. This is a similar study we did in our lab. The comparison study I'm talking about. FGT technology, we have used 70 millimeter extruder Omega, and FGT technology used for 40 millimeter, so that we can compare what is the difference between the 70 millimeter and the 40. When you are going for a scale up, we didn't find any much difference on the lab scale versus the bigger scale. But we observed there is a difference on the standard technology. But in the 70 millimeter extruder, we could be able to achieve 530 kg per hour. But FGT in the Omega, both standard and all, we maintain same output, 100 kilo. The RPM is constant. But if you see the FGT and standard, specific mechanical energy, the power consumption, we see that higher in standard technology compared to FGT. And also melt temperature, there are 40-degree variation between our 70 millimeter FGT technology to the standard. FGT 70 is giving 186 degrees centigrade, but the standard technology giving 228. There is a 40-degree difference, means 40-degree higher melt temperature in standard technology. Finally, we have concluded for a WPC wood composite. Fractional geometry technology showed good dispersion and distribution, okay, in the wood powder without causing any degradation on the pellets. Omega FGT has 12% lower SME compared to the standard technology. Omega 70 millimeter FGT technology had 42-degree lower melt temperature compared to standard technology. And Omega 70 millimeter showed higher throughput compared to the standard technology of 40 millimeter. Now we are going for the biopolymer. See, the first case studies what we demonstrated is on the polypropylene and wood composite, and the similar case study we did for biodegradable polymers, biodegradable PBAT. Okay, we did. I just show you the sample. I will not go much deep onto the biodegradable polymer. What we did, 80% of PBAT, polypropylene, adipic, terephthalate, to 80% and 20% of wood composite. We blended and we observed the good dispersion, and also we added 30%, and we thought of going on the 40 and 50. That is the next study we are planning to do on the still going for a 40% of wood composite into the PBAT. But we tested into the in UTM. These are the mechanical property we studied. 20% addition of WPC wood powder with PBAT giving the tensile of 11.6. When you are addition of WPC, and it is giving the increase in the tensile strength, and also similar to the tensile modulus, the addition of wood composite and increases the mechanical property. And also the trend is going to even flexural modulus. Addition of filler, wood powder is increasing flexural modulus. Also impact strength reduces, okay, because the viscosity going higher and higher, it reduces the impact strength. 30% of 20% is giving good impact strength. This is kilojoules per meter square. When still further addition 10%, it reduces the impact strength. Okay. We did the similar study for a PLA, polylactic acid, with a wood composite when 20% and 30%. We could able to manage the compound, but unfortunately, when it goes to the injection molding, we could not able to make a mold, injection molded samples. Maybe we need to go for a compression molded and other studies. But injection molded, it didn't flow even in the injection flow. But further, we are planning to understand why it is not flowing in the injection molding. Maybe due to the viscosity, we need to understand the further. The compounding is not an issue, but when you're going for a molding for the next further study, we could not able to make it. The second, another study on we have did the recycled PBAT with the lignin powder. We studied many literature survey. Our main objective is to get the good dispersion of the lignin powder with the PBAT and also smooth strand surface. We also did some literature survey on the virgin PBAT. There is a mechanical property, and also when you combine with PBAT 60% and 40% lignin powder, 14.4 megapascal tensile strength and elongation is 370. Okay, and it also depends on the grade of the PBAT. What grade you are using, it elongation depends. This was the study. We fed PBAT from the intake, make into the homogeneous form, melted, and add 30% of lignin from side feeder, and we have used our FGT technology, mix and distribute completely, and then we took the sample out. And we have used for the 25 millimeter in our lab extruder. And we did two study, one 20% of lignin powder and 30%. And PBAT is 83 and 17. This combination we did. And if you see the mechanical, the throughput, we maintain constant throughput 10 kg throughout the system. One is we have used the T1, it shows the FGT technology. Again, here we compare standard versus FGT technology, both we use. And FGT technology, we observed the power consumption is 3.7. And when the addition of lignin increases, there is an increase in power consumption. Here it is a 17%, and then if you go to the 30%, there is an increase in the power consumption, and also SME increases. And if you see the melt temperature, not much change. But if you compare to the standard versus our FGT technology, but if you kept this 300 RPM constant for FGT and the standard, then the torque is slightly increased in the standard technology, and power consumption is increased in the standard, because also we observe there is a peak shear, there is a degradation. And if you see that the melt temperature, there is slight increase in the melt temperature of the standard technology. These are the lignin powder with PBAT, the pellets. We observe smooth and uniform pellets with the lignin powder with the PBAT. We also did some morphology study. If you see the left-hand side, PBAT with 17% of lignin, we didn't see much distribution of the particles like lignin powder in the polymer matrix. If you see, not uniformly at 17%. But if you see at 30%, distributed evenly, all the wood lignin powder into the PBAT, completely homogeneously dispersed And that's why we could able to manage higher mechanical property, the 30%. This is what you use for FGT technology. But the same thing we did for a standard technology. There is again lumps we observed. The distribution was not proper in the standard technology. But you use same lignin, same polymer, but only the technology is different. Screw design is different, standard versus FGT. But we observed poor mechanical property in the standard technology. If you see the rheology study and the PBAT, virgin PBAT of the means the recycled PBAT, we observed we are getting the thermal stability. Okay, in this case we are at 2.29, and when you are addition of lignin increases the thermal stability. Even further at 30%, still further increase in thermal stability. That shows, okay, addition of lignin give you more thermally stable polymer, okay, compared to the PBAT virgin polymer. But shear rate wise, in the screw shear rate wise, what's happening? PBAT is giving higher shear rate. The addition of lignin, interestingly, reduces the shear rate slowly. Because that shows the mixing was good, but the shear rate was lower. This is where taken for the FGT technology. When you see the viscosity, addition of lignin increases the viscosity. When you compare to the natural or virgin PBAT, there is an increase in the viscosity. Viscosity is twice second, so that it is increasing from slowly. It goes to 300, almost 300, 3000. Finally, we come to the comparison results. I'm not going into the MFI and all, but I'll just taken the observation. There is a slight increase from 17% to, if you see the flexural modulus and the impact strength, virgin PBAT is showing 100, and but the addition of lignin slowly increases the flexural modulus. Also, similarly increases the impact strength. And the FGT technology, but again we compared both the FGT and the standard technology. But FGT is giving a higher impact and flexural modulus compared to the standard. This is standard at the down, standard technology compared to the FGT is giving a better mechanical property compared to the standard technology. Even if you see the tensile strength, we are getting 15.27 in the FGT technology, but 15 slightly reduced, and tensile modulus similar. FGT is giving better tensile modulus, and also tensile at break is giving higher FGT, lower in standard technology. Yeah.
Thank you, Prakash. We are having our second poll question here. How likely are you to conduct trials at STEER ADC based on today's webinar? You can select your options from the below list displayed on your screen. You have 30 seconds. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see the results. So 20% say yes and 80% say no. Also, if you have any questions on the ongoing webinar, please drop into the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens and please ask your questions. Let's go back to Dr. Prakash to continue with the webinar.
Thank you. Okay, the second case studies we are going on the jute polypropylene. there are many advantages on the jute polypropylene. It gives you lighter weight again, and here we have used FGT technology to improve of the. And there are many challenges. Feeding of the jute into the polymer matrix and into the TSE, twin screw extruder, is the biggest challenge. Also, it gives higher mechanical property compared to even wood. Higher tensile strength we observed jute is going to give on the long jute, not the chopped jute. It's a long jute, the twisted jute. Okay. And we conducted 30% of jute, 40 and 50%. The monopolymer, polypropylene we have used, and this is the, and also coupling agent, the constant for all the system. We fed polypropylene from the intake and jute 30% and 50% from the one side feeder, and we could able to manage 50% of jute, and in 40 millimeter we could achieve 100 kg per hour, and these are the pellets. And we observed smooth surface of the pellets. We didn't find any degradation on the pellets. And if you see the morphology, we see the better wetting of jute onto the fiber completely. And some of the standard we have used the jute pulling out from the polymer matrix, that we call it as a fiber debonding and fiber pull out. And the brittle fracture we observed some of the fibers because that's polymer wetting was very bad. That shows the brittle fractured surface. If you see the results and discussion and the tensile, when the virgin polymer we observed 35 megapascal and addition of 20%, it's slowly giving an increasing the tensile strength. At 50% we observe 55.78. So almost a good tensile strength if you compare to other wood powder and all. Jute is giving better tensile strength, and compared flexural modulus, again addition of jute is increasing. You see that it's almost it touches to the chopped glass fiber. Okay, chopped glass fiber also similar. We are, if you add 20 to 30%, it is almost we are reaching at 5,000 to 6,000 of flexural modulus, but the jute itself is giving better flexural modulus. These are the some products we did on the jute product. Okay, some dashboard and some of the conduits glands we did. And there are many other case studies. I'll just go into the one by one, so without wasting the time. We have done on the bamboo fiber also. This is the objective is same for all. Okay, and we have used Omega 40H class and FGT technology, and 40% of bamboo fiber. And there are many colors we have added in the bamboo compounds, green, and many colors can be done using bamboo powder. This is the same setup use polypropylene and bamboo powder. Bamboo powder use was 40% from the side feeder. And when it comes to the testing and results, and we could able to manage 100 kg per hour in 40 millimeter. See the density of the benchmark, we got 1.01 and 1.03. Tensile almost same, slight benchmark was 45 megapascal, we could able to manage 48. And impact strength is 3 and we achieved 4.2. We have used FGT technology. Structural strength slightly increased compared to the benchmark. And the fourth case studies, we are going for a bagasse. Bagasse, we have added 20 to 50% of bagasse. Use Omega 40H class. And here we had a lot of challenges, inconsistency of feeding bagasse because it was so wet and there is no uniform fibers in the bagasse. Okay, and degradation bagasse is again biggest challenge. The similar 50% of bagasse we have used fed polymer from the intake and melted, and feed bagasse from the side feeder. And tensile strength, you see if you see compared to jute and other, bagasse had a little bit lower tensile strength compared to jute. Jute is giving almost 55 MPa, but we are getting lower. But flexural strength was good in terms of bagasse, and flexural modulus also almost near to the jute, and impact strength is same. One interesting is we observed the HTT. It was a good one, 145 on the tube. And we didn't find any issue on the process, but we get good pellets from the bagasse. Over to you, Vidya.
So let's see our third polling question. Which steer platform extruder are you using currently? Please select your option from the below list. All right.
So
3,
while we are waiting,
2, and 1.
we are having only 5 minutes.
Let's see the answer. So 20% says steer machine and 80% say other machines. Also, if you have any questions on the ongoing webinar, please drop into the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens and kindly ask your questions. So let's now go back to Dr. Prakash for the final session of the webinar.
Thank you, Vidya. Okay, finally the last and fifth case studies, we are going on the ham. Ham, it's again higher moisture content and it forms as a lumpy, and feeding is again a big challenge on the hemp powder. And we could able to manage 30% feeding with the polypropylene. And this was the pellets, and 30% of ham use same omega 70 and 30 combination, fed ham from the side feeder, and we could able to manage the better dispersion, but still we are trying out to do the mechanical property, still not completed. Our next level is to understand the mechanical property. And the last and least in the rice husk, we have done that, and this was much easy to process rice husk. Not much issues because easy freeable, and so that we can disperse onto the LLEP. This was the pellets from the rice husk, and we use our lab extruder 25 millimeter, and the RPM was 200. When you could able to manage 20 kg per hour, and the SME was 0.15. Polypropylene was melted from the intake and mixed, and rice husk fed from side feeder, and it's a stand cutting method. And these are the some applications we use for WPC composites. And this is our application development center in Bangalore, in India. We have two extruder 40 millimeter. One is Omega 40H class, and DO/DI is 1.71. The left hand side, you see that Mega 40, it's 1.55, and LOD is 50. But in the case of Omega 40H class, the length can be variable. It had 5 platform on the same base, the interchangeability of the barrel, we can do 44 depending on the customer requirement on the application, 52, and then third one is 60, LOD 60. And we have underwater pelletizer, strand cutting method, there any other methods. And we have a lab 20 millimeter extruder, 25 millimeter omega, and also we have powder coating extruders. And there are many testing facility. We have all the mechanical testing like a tensile, flexural, and thermal steady equipments. We have like a TZA, DSC, and other test characteristics. And the second one is our Ohio Application Development Center. We have 40 millimeter extruder, and then lab extruder is 30 millimeter. This is Ohio setup, and this is our Steer Japan setup technical center. Thank you.